All right, we're doing our video like this today because I just want to really focus on reading through the information and there not to be any distractions. So you can go ahead and get your books and open up them to, I forget what page, 183. All right, your language books to page 183. We're going to learn a new unit. I'm not sure if we're going to make it the whole way through it. I'm not sure how long it is. I'll have to look later and see, but we're at least going to get a start because these are really important parts of speech for you to know and understand. If you already learned about adverbs in second or third grade, let me know, but we're going to learn a little bit more. So adverbs, they answer the question how, when, and where. These are the three main questions that adverbs will ask and answer. So in recognizing adverbs, the fifth part of speech, so we have subject, verb, adjective, pronoun, and then adverbs. The fifth part of speech, which you will learn, is the adverb. Like an adjective, an adverb describes. So adjectives describe a noun. Adverbs describe a noun or a pronoun. An adverb is a word that describes an adjective or another, a verb mostly, an adjective or another adverb. Okay, so it's kind of like tiered. Adjectives describe the noun, they're the most common, and then adverbs describe verbs, adjectives, adverbs. So here's some examples. She spoke softly. The adverb softly describes the word spoke. So the subject is she, the verb is spoke, and how did she speak? One of these big questions up here, she spoke softly. The horse is very big. So the subject is, or that horse is very big. The subject is horse, verb is, and then big. The adverb very describes the adjective big. So big describes the horse. It's an adjective describing the horse. And the word very describes how big, very big. He talks too fast. The adverb too describes the adverb fast, okay? So fast describes how does he talk, so that's describing the verb. In this case, big is describing the horse, so it's an adjective because it's describing the noun. In this one, fast is describing to what extent does he talk. So he is the subject, talks is the verb, fast describes talks, and then to describes fast. So that is why to is an adverb, it describes another adverb. So adverbs describe verbs, adjectives, and other adverbs. Adverbs describe verbs more often than they describe adjectives or other adverbs. Adverbs which describe an action, which describe action verbs, often tell how the action is done. See how many adverbs can describe the verbs walk, eat, and read. So for walk, I'm down here with these ones. Slowly walks, slowly, quickly, fast, carefully. And then how do you eat? Neatly, messily, politely, hurriedly. How do you read? Well, fast, poor, haltingly. So those are just some examples. But this look closely box on here is really important. Did you notice that many adverbs end in ly? Check ly words to see if they are adverbs. They probably are. That's like one of those clues. So whenever you're reading a story problem in math, there's always those clue words to tell you whether you're going to add, subtract, divide, multiply. Ly on a word is going to be a clue that it will most likely be an adverb. Which of these ly words is an adverb and which is an adjective? Okay, so let's look right here. My neighbor is friendly. So the subject is neighbor, verb is, right? What does friendly describe? Does it describe the subject or does it describe the verb? It describes neighbor, so a friendly neighbor. So this is an adjective because it describes a noun. My neighbor works skillfully, okay? The subject is neighbor, that's a noun. The verb is works, neighbor works. How does and then skillfully, what does skillfully describe? Does it describe neighbor or does it describe works? It describes how they work. So this is an adverb because skillfully describes the verb. All right, we're going to turn over to the next page. And I'm going to have to hold my camera carefully because I don't want to give you the answers. I'm working off my answer sheet here. I think I just peeked one at you. Okay, so to locate adverbs, to find an adverb easily, first find the verb. Say the verb and ask where, when, how often, to what extent. I would even circle and star these to come back and look for when you're doing your homework this week and for different quizzes and things before you take them to review. Because these questions, I forget these too often. Adverbs are actually hard for me because I've never dedicated myself to know these questions. So, to save yourself a lot of heartache for next year and 6th grade, definitely work on memorizing these, okay? So, circle, star these. Where, when, how often, to what extent. I promise you, you will save yourself a lot of heartache in the next, well, for the rest of your life, because sometimes you don't think you need things, but then you become a teacher and you have to remember all of these. But even if you're not, even in college, knowing these will be helpful if you go to college and high school. All right, so then a word which answers one of these questions is an adverb. So I went inside. Went where? Inside. So that's an adverb right there. It's saying where, okay? Aunt Ellen came yesterday. When? Came when? So this is the subject. What they're doing is they're taking the verb. So Aunt Ellen is the subject. The verb is came. Came when? She came yesterday. Okay, do you see how that uses the verb to ask these questions? Joshua did his work sloppily. So the subject is Joshua. Did work. Nope, just did. No. Did how? Did sloppily. Yeah, so it's just did on that one. Work is, I forget what that is, but I don't forget what that is. That's something you're not going to learn for a while. Samuel is always prompt. So Samuel is how often? Always. This is almost finished. This is to what extent finished? Almost finished. Okay, so that's how those use that. So what we're going to do is we're going to do Think A together. And I'm not showing you my answers because I want you to, after I read each one, try and guess in your head and see if you got it right. Keep track of how many you got right. Like keep a tally mark and then tell me how many you got right before I gave you the answer, and we'll see what you guys got, okay? So if you got all 10 right, let me know. If you got 4 right, that's fine because I would not get many of them right. The sun shone radiantly. Okay, so which question? Where, when, how often? The answer is how. How did the sun shine? Radiantly. So you're going to write the word how, the question how, in the line beside number 1. Number 2, we went to church yesterday. Okay, look at those 5 questions. See which one, find the verb in the sentence, and see which one yesterday answers the question to. Okay, have that in your brain. The answer is when. When did we go to church? We went yesterday. Okay, have you gotten both of those right so far? I hope so. Number 3, all of the children came outside. Okay, look at those 5 questions up in the box and see which one outside answers. Okay, the answer is where. Where did the children come? Outside. Number 4, we should fully obey our parents. Okay, look at the 5 questions. Which one does fully answer about the verb? Find the verb. Should obey, I'll give you a hint. It's split up on that one. We should obey. The answer is to what extent. To what extent should we obey? We should obey fully, not half-heartedly, not partially, fully. I think that was similar to a spelling question you guys had this week on your test. Number 5, a flock of geese flew overhead. Look for the verb and which question up in the box does overhead answer. Where? The answer is where. Where did they fly? Overhead. So where is the best question for that? Sometimes there might be 1 or 2, but there's going to be a best question, and where would definitely be that because overhead is a placement. Number 6, we walked quietly through the woods. There's an ly word that's going to give you a hint that it's probably going to be an adverb. So let's find the verb and see what question it answers. Okay, the question that it answers is how did we walk? Quietly. I would even say that to what extent did we walk quietly would work, but how is the best one? How did we walk? Noisily, quietly, sneakily, okay? Number 7, I will be leaving for school soon. Look for the verb and ask one of those 5 questions which one best fits number 7. Okay, the answer is when. Are you keeping tally? I hope so. I want to see how many you guys get without me telling you the answer first. Number 8, it seldom snows in Florida. Find the verb, see which one which question seldom answers about the verb? This one's kind of tricky because seldom is in between the subject and the verb. So the verb is snows. The question that it answers is how often does it snow? Seldom is like sometimes, every once in a while, rarely. Okay, so how often is the question for that one? Number 9, the pony jumped nervously. Okay, the verb is jumped, so the question that it answers is how did the pony jump nervously? So the question is how. And number 10, last one, I will come immediately. The subject is I, the verb is will come, and immediately, there's another ly just like nervously above, immediately. So which of the 5 questions does immediately answer about will come? When is the answer to that, okay? So I am going to actually show you the answers, and you can pause the video and make sure you have them all written down correctly. Okay, you can pause it right here to make sure you have all of the answers. And then, okay, so just let me know how many tally marks you got right. I want to celebrate with you to see which ones you guys got before I gave you the answers. So what you're going to do is you're going to finish right B here, okay, down at the bottom, and then you're going to finish page 185, and that's it for language.